Hello, my name is Jimmy Owens and I'm here to present my video quiz number 2. I will begin with chapter 10 and then move on to chapter 13 and 14. Alright, beginning with question 1. What were the key ideas that stood out to you in the chapter? Well, there are many things that stood out to me in chapter 10, but first I will say how important the beginning and the end of your speeches are. In the beginning of your speech, you have to establish credibility and goodwill with the audience in those first few seconds of your speech in order to keep your audience engaged and paying attention to you. There are many ways you can start and present your speech where your audience will maintain engagement with you. You can tell a story, you can startle them with a shocking fact or quote. You can question the audience with rhetorical questions. And it's also important that I thought that stood out was that you need to signal the end of your speech. But before you do that, you need to reinforce your central idea and end pretty much on a good note. Question 2. What did I learn in this chapter that I did not know before reading it? Well, I did not know how important the beginning and the end of the speeches were. If you start out boring in that first maybe 30 seconds, you have lost your audience for the entire speech, and that can be very detrimental. Question 3. Why are these important to public speaking? Well, it's simply the fact that you do not want to bore your audience, whether you're presenting a speech for class, a speech for a business company, or a speech to your friends. You want them to pay attention to you and actually listen to what you have to say. You want them to be engaged and actively listening. Question 4. How can they be used in other areas of your personal and or professional life? Career-wise, maybe you're at a business meeting and you want the company to change insurances or upgrade to a new account. If your speech is boring all through, the beginning and the end, more than likely your manager is not going to listen to you and not going to upgrade the account. So that's very important if you want them to pay attention. Chapter 13, question 1. What were the key ideas that stood out to you in this chapter? Well, the things that stood out to me in chapter 13 were all the different methods of delivery that you can deliver a speech and the ways you can deliver a speech, such as simply reading from the manuscript, such as reciting from memory, such as speaking impromptu or extemporaneously. And it's also important how you need voice variety in your speech. You need different pitches, different tones, and you don't want to simply be monotone throughout your whole entire speech. You also want to have a good personal appearance, good gestures, and body movement. Question 2. What did you learn in this chapter that you did not know before reading it? When you give a speech, it's so much more than the speech that the audience is paying attention to. They're paying attention to your body movement. They're paying attention to your gestures. They're paying attention to your eye contact. It's so much more. That's what I found that was very interesting that I learned from this chapter. Question 3. Why are these ideas important to public speaking? Well, because your voice and body movement say a lot about your speech. If you're simply standing there like a statue speaking monotone, your audience is not going to be interactive or actively listening to your speech. So it all depends on what you have on as far as your appearance and exactly how you physically present the speech as well. Question 4. How can they be used in other areas of your personal and or professional life? In your career, if you're not answering audience's questions, you're not maintaining eye contact, or if you have incorrect gestures and body movements, more than likely this is going to turn off your audience because they don't feel that you may be credible, or they feel that you're not completely helping them understand the point that your speech is trying to make. So please be careful with that. Chapter 14, question 1. What were the key ideas that stood out to you in this chapter? There was a lot that stood out to me in chapter 14, but the majority was the different kinds of visual aids that you can use, such as objects and models, photographs and drawings, graphs, charts, videos, PowerPoints, and simply using yourself as a visual aid. But you have to make sure that you prepare your visual aids way ahead of time. You want to do it well in advance. You want to keep it simple, have colors and fonts to actually keep your audience interested in your speech. Question 2. What did you learn in this chapter that you did not know before reading it? I learned that you have to be careful when you're using your visual aids. Having certain visual aids that are very glamorous and very intricate will distract your audience from listening to you in your speech. They'll be more focused on your visual aids than actually what you're trying to present in the speech. Question 3. Why are these ideas important to your public speaking? Well, visual aids not only complement your speech, but also reinforce what you're actually saying in your speech. They keep your audience interactive instead of just hearing you speak all the time. If they have drawings and graphs and pictures and things to look at, that'll keep them more actively engaged in what you're saying. This also helps your speech to be more credible. Last question, question 4. How can they be used in other areas of your personal and professional life? Well, again, it goes to business preparation. If you want to persuade your company to change accounts or to expand their company into a different country, if you want, you have to back up with what you say. And the A's, if you have statistics and graphs showing, hey, this worked for a similar company in the similar place that we are, this would actually may work for us as well. So also, if you have that will help your credibility in a lot of ways. All right. Thank you very much.